Good afternoon. Welcome to the graduation of the great class of 2021. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for supporting these young people through the last few months and through their lives so far. I'm Steve Sagarin. I'm the Executive Director and Faculty Chair of Berkshire Waldorf High School. Next to me, from your right to left, from your left to right, are Teresa O'Brien, our Board Chair, Amy Inglis, our speaker today. Next to them are members of our core faculty, Susan Bilodeau, Sarah Blexrud, then Susan Bilodeau, Lee Magadini, Julia Nunez, Elizabeth Orenstein, Beth Robbins, Samantha Steer, and Ursula Wiert. Before we begin, I really would like to thank the National Shrine of the Divine Mercy for hosting our ceremony today on these beautiful grounds. I also want to say that this pile of gravel is intentionally placed here for us, and it's meant to symbolize the obstacles of the past 15 months. Of course, I'm kidding. It's a lot smaller than it was when we rehearsed on Friday. The Shrine apologizes for the construction, and they trust, as we do, that the value of the ceremony will prevail over any aesthetic imperfections. Please silence your devices. Following the ceremony, families, please meet the graduates at the top of the hill behind you. We are sorry that there's not a reception for the class this year, but some COVID precautions are still in place. The class of 2021, like seniors in high schools nationwide, even worldwide, has shared an interesting year and a quarter, dodging a pandemic to complete high school and to pursue admission to college and life after high school. Last spring, their schooling was remote. This year, their education was in person, but masked and distanced. We increased their academic load slightly. I don't know if they noticed. And we necessarily, but sadly, decreased electives like Shakespeare, sports, their trip to Hermit Island, Maine. Our school had a bit less of the feeling we are used to of being a whole, united community, and more a feeling of segmentation. Still, these seniors, cheerful, thoughtful, talented, led from the front, demonstrating maturity and commitment in nearly everything they did. Their college acceptances are an acknowledgement of and reward for hard work well done. Among other healthy adaptations in the face of the pandemic, the class of 2021 paddleboarded together, revived our Students in Action political group, dressed as their teachers on April Fool's Day, and piloted a camping trip in the Adirondacks to study astronomy. They found ways to maintain balance and health and normalcy when the world around them was imbalanced and abnormal. This is a powerful skill that they have developed and they will carry with them. The class also implemented a senior skip day, which is something that doesn't exist at our school. But they made up for it by planning and holding field day for the high school, including popsicles at the end, and by bringing flowers and gifts for the teachers whom they inconvenienced. They have learned another important lesson. Forgiveness is easier to obtain when you are honest, cheerful, and direct about your transgressions. As is customary at our school, we will hear from each of the graduates in alphabetical order as listed on your program, and then I will introduce today's speaker, Amy Inglis. Mr. Bellamy, you are our first speaker.
Good afternoon. Dear Miss Inglis, Miss O'Brien, Dr. Sagrin, teachers, trustees, parents, friends, and classmates. I wish I could say that I want to stay, but I don't, and that's all right. I'm ready and excited for every new thing I will encounter in the years to come. I'm ready because of Berkshire Waldorf High School. This school and its faculty and students have showed me so many ways of thinking about things and taught me things maybe I should have found to be common sense. The students were always there for each other and helped each other through every challenge the school year could bring. I saw this especially with my class. In 9th grade, we were full of cliques and troublemakers. I would know. I was a troublemaker. Throughout the 4 years, people joined and people left. By the end of 11th grade, we had our core group figured out, a group that consisted of the whole class. Everybody was friends with everybody. I'm so grateful for my experiences and for the support everybody gave me when I needed it. Thank you all for coming.
Hi everyone! When I first came to the school, I was so excited to be in high school, and then school started and it totally lived up to my expectations. At High Rock, I was already making new friends, and after we got back, classes felt so new and fun. Before high school, I made a few promises to myself that I broke, such as to stop procrastinating. It worked for a bit, but then I started procrastinating even more. But there were also ways in which I grew. I got my first job, I made some wonderful friends, I even sold some artwork. It's surreal to think that this is all over now. I've barely processed it. Now I'm on my own and can do whatever I want. It's an exciting feeling. The end used to seem so far away, but now it's here and I'm ready for a new beginning. Hi. Life is weird. As anyone who knows me well can tell you, this is something I say all the time. Because it is. Life is just like so weird. And I don't know why everyone just doesn't walk around saying that all the time. But I don't know. A very weird, if you will, set of coincidences and circumstances led me to this school. And as weird as they were, I'm so glad they did, and I'm so glad that I ended up here. A friend of mine said to me the other day, "Do you ever just look around at the world in amazement?" It was like he had read my mind, because I do, all the time. I look at this beautiful world we get to live in with trees and tigers and music, this world where nothing matters, or everything matters, you get to decide. And I think about how incredibly lucky I am. I'm graduating high school with all of you guys. Isn't that weird? Thank you to my teachers. Thank you for caring. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for putting up with the worst of my exhausted moods. Thank you to Wyeth and Oliver for keeping things fun. And thank you to my class. Julia, Lucas, Mattie, Amelia, Ken, Esther, Katie, Jem, Lulu, and Linda. You're the best class I ever could have hoped for, and I'm so grateful to all of you. I'm gonna miss our philosophical discussions, our little pranks, and laughing with you guys. I love you guys. And lastly, I want to thank you, Amma. You helped me through high school more than you can imagine. Thank you for teaching me to look at the world in amazement. I hope I'm as cool as you are when I grow up.
Hey, it's been 3 years since I first joined Berkshire Waldorf High School, at the end of 9th grade. I first joined apprehensive about being in such a tiny class. I'm not built for small schools or small towns. I'm used to seeing them as bad environments for self-expression, especially the gender non-conforming aesthetics I use today. However, over time, I instead saw Waldorf become a place where I could be very authentic. I found I could surround myself with people who were very authentic, in a class of people that each stood out strongly as their own personality. As I became more true to myself, I also appreciated the diversity of personalities, interests, hopes, and dreams around me. This year, because of COVID, fun has been greatly reduced for safety reasons. But I still have many memories that will continue to stand out to me into the next phase of my life. Exploring and long walks down the train tracks with my friends, learning about my muffin in that one class, having classes in church pews and lunch on the balcony seats, staying up all night in front of a campfire with Mattie, my day trip to Mass Mocha with Esther, destroying gender norms with Jem, exploring Great Barrington with Sadie, deep conversations during German class mask break with Julia, Amelia, and Lulu, discussing music theory with Katie, road trips to obscure thrift shops with Linda, Kenny teaching me that handshake thing that I still can't quite do. This is the Waldorf that I'll carry with me after I leave. Along with the amazing teachers I had, and all the quirky and fascinating material that they introduced me to. I'm ready for the next phase of my life, but I'm glad I came to this school and had all the wonderful experiences that I did. Thank you so much, everybody.
Hello, everyone. I remember 10 years ago in second grade, we would clamber onto the swings and go as high as we absolutely could, only to jump off at the most dangerous point. We didn't care about the consequences or broken bones. We just wanted to see our little world from a different point of view, if only for a fraction of a second. Today, we're making the same leap, only we have a better idea of where and how we're going to land. To my fellow graduates, I would like to say, whether your journey to the ground ends in a broken bone or an Olympic feat, we can always get back up on that swing and enjoy the view from way up there over and over again. I would like to thank my teachers and fellow students for letting me and helping me become who I am today, and I would like to thank my mom for always showing me unconditional love. I would like to thank my older sister for not killing every bug for me, or not only killing every bug for me, but also rubbing off some of her brilliant stubbornness. I would like to thank my younger sister and cousin for always being there for me and making me laugh when I cried. And lastly, I would like to thank my fellow graduates for showing me a world in which we can love and learn from one another regardless of the circumstances. I love you.
Good afternoon. I'm not someone who does well with change. The idea of leaving high school and starting a new chapter of life has plagued me with fear and dread since I began elementary school. Well, probably not that long, but you get the point. When I look back at the person I was at the beginning of 9th grade, I have to say that I have changed a lot. After my first orientation at High Rock, I came home crying to my mom, begging her to take me out of high school because I wasn't ready to be a big kid. I expect to have a similar reaction to college. Well, my mom obviously didn't take me out of high school, and I stand before you today both not wanting to leave, but also excited for my next chapter. I really have my teachers to thank for this. Every time someone has asked me what I'll miss most about high school, I always say my teachers. Even during quarantine, I told my parents at least once a day that I miss seeing them. Thank you for supporting and encouraging me throughout these past 4 years. I'd especially like to thank Miss Bilodeau. I guess since I'm graduating, I can say that you are my favorite teacher. But I'm pretty sure you already knew that. You not only turned math into my favorite subject, but you talked to me about college, friends, and even listened to my occasional rants on Harry Potter or Criminal Minds. You helped me navigate high school, and I couldn't have done it without you. Thank you to my parents for everything that you've done, not just these past 4 years, but for all 19. Class of 2021, I'm not sure how we did it, but we did. You all are the funniest and coolest group of people. Thank you for the laughs, the pranks, the golden rounds. I can't wait to see what you all do next. Thank you.
When I was figuring out what I was going to say today, I couldn't stop thinking about who I was 2 years ago when I first started at this school. I never thought I would have found such a strong sense of community and that I would be standing here in front of classmates that have had such a profound impact on me. This will probably come as a shock to most of my teachers and classmates, but I'm not from Massachusetts. I came to this school in the fall of my junior year from Vermont. I was not only terrified, but upset to have to reestablish myself in an area I didn't want to be in. In retrospect, I couldn't be more grateful for the move that brought me here. My teachers have pushed me to stay creative and keep going, even when it doesn't feel possible. My classmates inspire and support me as much as they make me laugh. Ultimately, this school has helped me be the person I want to be. So much of this too would not be possible without the endless encouragement of my siblings, and most of all, my parents, who never fail to nurture my uniqueness and belief in infinite possibilities. I know someday this experience will be a memory, but today it is a wonderful reality. I am so excited to share in the celebration of it with all of you. Thank you.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for being here. First of all, I just feel so grateful to have attended a high school that I looked forward to going to every day. My now favorite thing about the school was my least favorite in 9th grade, the small class size. Now my grade of 10 other unique students was my favorite aspect of going to this school. These are some of the most open-minded and caring people I've ever met. I love talking about nostalgic movies with Lulu, weird noise music with Katie, photography with Jem, tattoos with Amelia, and sparkly bags with Julia. I love throwing rocks at the river with Sadie, listening to Mattie play the guitar, getting life coached by Kenny, taking funny videos with Esther that only we find amusing, and going to thrift shops with Lucas. What are the odds that I had such a tiny class and adore each of you? I think the only way I can sum up my experience at this school was how humanizing it was, and how school was never a place I associated with stress. That's also a surprise, considering high school is usually a very stressful time for people. So frequently I think about how cool it is that I attended a school where I was able to really get to know my teachers. I'm grateful for each of them, so thank you to Miss Blexford, Mr. Sagrin, Miss Steer, Miss Bilodeau, Miss Inglis, Miss Broussard, Profe, Miss Magadini, Frau Viert, Miss Orenstein, and Miss Robbins. All of you have been incredibly wonderful. I would especially like to thank Miss Steer for getting me through the college application process, and for Miss Bilodeau for being an amazing class advisor this year. I'd also like to thank my friends and family for the endless support and love, especially my mom, sibling, and grandmother. I really love you all.
Good afternoon, everyone. I just want to tell you a little story. When I was in 8th grade, my dream high school was an all-girls school just around the corner from my home in Princeton, New Jersey, where I had lived up till then. I felt that it was a good fit for me and was quite impressed with the teacher. And after that, I was going to major in viola performance at a major conservatory, no question. The fact that this school was highly competitive and STEM-focused, you might know that I'm not a science person, and gave their students oodles of homework, that some students considered busy work that I would have to balance with orchestra, chamber music, and hours of practice a day was no issue, even though, as many of you know, I am disorganized and arts-oriented, and of course I did not need any sleep. But to move to a small town in the middle of western Massachusetts with bad cell reception, 3 hours away from my home, my friends, and my community, to attend a small Waldorf high school of all things, no way. However, as you see, I'm here now. When I first started at Berkshire Waldorf High School, I thought that the school would simply help me to strengthen my focus on viola and just teach me the stuff I'd had to learn in order to function in society or something like that. But our classes delved deep into such diverse subjects such as Dante's Inferno, philosophy, and history through various perspectives. The project-based learning style brought up passions I thought I never had. For example, in poetry, drawing comics, and believe it or not, my interest in the theremin, which came about as a direct result of Mr. Sagard's history through technology class. Now standing here, although I am still passionate about viola, if not more than when I entered high school, what specifically I want to do is up in the air. Rather than seeing a single path of, say, becoming an orchestral violist, I see a maze of possibility open to pursue after I hopefully finish my conservatory education, which is partially a result of the ideas and inspiration I received from this community over the past 4 years. I'd like to thank everyone in this community for being so supportive and for helping me to find parts of myself which I did not know about. A special shout out to my parents for pushing me to come here and for driving me 240 miles a week to Boston for my musical training since the school didn't have any until the pandemic. Thank you. I hope to take this spirit of discovery into my future conservatory years and into my professional life. Thank you so much, and I love you all.
Good afternoon. I wish I could talk about all the wonderful memories and people that this school has provided for me over the last 4 years. But if I did, we'd be here all night. Instead, I would like to briefly speak to the students, teachers, and everyone else who has contributed to my experience of the last 4 years. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. You have given me a gift that has influenced me positively and profoundly. From the trip to Costa Rica in 9th grade, to Ms. Robbins' production of Almost Maine in 10th grade, to Fall Fest in 11th grade, to playing Foursquare at the church these last few weeks. These last 4 years have truly been the best of my life. Thank you, and I love you. I would now like to speak to my class specifically. Whether it was Kenny's goofiness and passion for skiing and interest in cars, or Julia's laughter and trust falls, laughing or speaking French with Sadie, Lucas's fashion and words of wisdom, Amelia's will and integrity, playing GeoGuessr and watching TikToks with Lulu, Esther's playfulness and witty humor, taking photos with Linda, Katie's passion for the viola, or listening to music in the car with Mattie. You have all been the motivation for me to get up in the morning on many an occasion. Although this may be sort of a goodbye, I would like to instead say hello in advance for whenever we may next see each other. So to you, the great class of 2021, hello in advance. Young Cheesehead has spoken.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for coming. It's hard to believe that I'm standing up here about to graduate because for the last 4 years, for my whole life, it's been a clear but distant goal, and now it's right here in front of me. When I first joined the school in 10th grade, I was scared to take up my own space in a room and tried to blend in with my surroundings. I soon realized that at this school, that's not really possible. Everyone is being their genuine selves, honestly and unapologetically. The teachers foster the growth and individuality of their students in the most beautiful way. Every member of our class is so different, so talented, and has such a powerful presence. When we're together, sometimes all I can do is laugh because y'all are seriously hilarious. I'm going to miss hearing Julia's laugh, seeing Linda's amazing clothing style, learning about current events and politics from Amelia, talking with Katie about music, hearing Esther start singing in the middle of class, Lulu's SNL renditions, Lucas's insights, Kenny's humor, Sadie's hugs, and I think I might just even miss Jem's puns. I would not be who I am today without this school and the relationships that I formed while at it. I'm so thankful for the friends that I've made at this school. Each of them has supported me and shown me who I want to be without the fear or worry of what everyone else thinks. I know they're there for who I am and for who I will become. I want to thank my teachers, especially Miss Robbins and Miss Steer, for being my favorite teachers and my writing mentors. And Miss Bilodeau, for all of your advice and for building my confidence with math and in life. I didn't realize how much I was going to miss you until this past week. Thank you all so much. And thank you to my classmates. I love you all.
It's a privilege to introduce today's speaker, Amy Inglis. Amy is a professional photographer and videographer. Her company, Avita Love Photography, specializes in weddings, events, and portraits. Ms. Inglis is also an art and photography teacher. She has taught at our school since 2016. Before that, at High Mowing School in southern New Hampshire and at a Camp Hill community in California. At our school, she has taught drawing and painting, printmaking and photography, and she has advised several students on independent projects and college portfolios. Ms. Inglis is calm, kind, and talented. She is deeply ethical and committed to helping others, including her work at a Camp Hill community, as a dorm parent at a boarding school, caring for an elderly relative, or simply being there for those who may need her shoulder. She's also a heck of an athlete, a volleyball and a soccer player, and when she wants to be, a ferocious CrossFitter. Ms. Inglis is a graduate of the Steiner School in Great Barrington, now called Berkshire Waldorf School, of Miss Hall School in Pittsfield, and of Florida. But how much richer it is to broaden our inner lives so that the conventional and the mundane appear to us ever new. This is a gift of Amy's artistry and of her teaching. It is a pleasure to welcome her to speak to the graduates today.
Good evening, faculty, students, parents, Board of Trustees, and seniors. When I was studying painting in college, my main professor was fondly called by his last name, Otremsky. He was a character, a long ponytail all the way down his back, and an intense stare, but could he paint. He was known for pushing students to do their best, even if it included some expletives. He would often give us the same assignment, and when the deadline came around, we had to present our work in front of the class in what was called a critique. He always asked us the same 3 questions. Where did you begin? Where did you end? And how did you get there? So what I have to offer you today is a painting of your time here at the Berkshire Waldorf High School. The materials I have handy are words and numbers, memories, ideas, for a canvas which you will now make in your imagination. Question number 1, where did you begin? Whether you are here at a Waldorf school for the last 13 years or just a year or 2, the decision your parents made to send you here has had a profound influence on you in ways that you may not realize for years to come. Parents, your participation in the high school experience does not go unnoticed, for the school would not be here without you. It's a commencement for you too. I remember, seniors, when you were in 9th grade and you came to the school open-minded, open-hearted, and full of energy. When you first arrived, you stepped into the unknown. where many possibilities were waiting for you. Whether you are starting high school, going to college, taking a gap year, or starting a new job, beginnings can be scary, right? I personally adore the blank canvas. Call me crazy, but it's true. Sometimes the most difficult part of the creative process is the beginning. When you're staring at a blank canvas, wondering how to begin, it can be daunting, and the fear of making a mistake might creep in and freeze you in place. The moment before you put a pen to paper or a brush to canvas is so beautiful, because during that inhale, all possibilities still exist. You could be about to create a masterpiece. Who knows? Every painter throughout history has held a blank canvas before them, just like you. Whether it's in photography or painting, before I click the shutter or make a mark, I always imagine what I want to happen. In photography, I capture the whole frame all at once. But with painting, I slowly build it up, step by step, mark by mark, layer by layer. Either way, I put the imagination to work before my hands. Every time I take a photo or make a mark that is aligned with my imagination, I can feel it in my gut, and it feels good. Now, you may not always have a vision for what you want to do, in which case you might want to try a different approach to starting. When you're staring at a blank canvas and the unlikelihood of perfection paralyzes you, all you have to do is take your brush and put it on the canvas to make a single dot. Anywhere will do. Now, there's no longer a blank canvas with endless possibilities. There's just the beginning of a painting to which you only have to paint step by step, mark by mark. What a relief. Whether it's in art or life, you don't have to know exactly what you're going to do to make it beautiful. Every little decision will lead to the finished product. Suddenly, you don't have to be a genius or create perfection. You simply have to take the next step. That first step will always require inner courage. I want you to remember this one piece of advice. Simply begin, and begin simply. Now for the second question. Where does it end? How do you know when something is finished? That's not always easy, as the painting can be worked and reworked. One ending point of your painting is today, seniors. The painting that you have worked on for the last 4 or even 13 years is almost finished. And you can't go back and rework it. Anyway, if we're being honest, it's probably time for a fresh start, right? In my last year of college, I had to present my senior thesis of 7 paintings to a whole art department in my final critique. I'd stayed up all night the night before, trying to finish the work, and even when my classmates were gathering in the gallery, I was still touching up the last canvas as it hung on the wall. It was hard to call it finished. I wanted to make the best representation of that vision that I could. Finally, my turn came to share about my work, and suddenly, I no longer felt the need to keep painting, because once I shared it with the people in that room, in some ways, it was no longer just mine, it was all of ours. And the same could be said of this graduation ceremony that we're all participating in with you today. Now for the third question. How did you get here? When speaking to Dr. Sagren about your class, he revealed to me that you have the highest GPA average of any class in the history of the school. I happen to know many classes from the school, including the original one, and that's quite an achievement, seniors. Part of the picture of how you got here is the backstory of the school. The people who started this school are nothing short of courageous. I witnessed that journey in admiration for the perseverance and stalwart belief that they had in the future of the school, in you. They have and had an intention for creating a high school that was so powerful, it proved to be impenetrable to this very day. May it continue to grow. As you may have heard, one of your and my teachers, Frau Hurt, was a founding faculty member of the school. She has also moved the school forward from behind the scenes by serving on the Board of Trustees along with former parent Tom Serow. Both have been instrumental in the school community and have been here since its inception in 2002. This is their last year on the board and a commencement for them as well. Thank you both. Just as the leadership of the founders of this school have carried us to the present, the leadership that you seniors provided throughout your time here, and especially during this last year, has been crucial. Dr. Sagren confirmed this when he told me that in his mind, if he were to choose any class to be at the helm during a pandemic, it would be yours. And that says a lot about your class. Leadership is important, and decision-making can be difficult. With the past year under your belts, you are well equipped for rising to both of those challenges. However, your educational experience is a lot bigger than just the trials of the last year. So let's look at the larger picture. 4 years at the Berkshire Waldorf High School quantitatively amounts to 672 school days together, 216 hours of English, 216 hours of languages, 288 hours of math, 720 hours of different electives, right? And a whopping 1,200 hours of seminar. Not to mention 120 hours of cleanup and about 2,400 handshakes. Also, 672 jokes from Dr. Sagren, and just one more Robert Frost poem recitation that will come shortly. As we continue to critique the painting of this high school experience, notice the wide palette of colors that were used. There were the things that you did all together, going to an orientation at Camp High Rock, hiking and camping in the woods, proposing an amendment to a school rule, presenting your senior internship projects, going on the senior trip, holding a forum, walking to lunch, saying goodbye to friends, saying hello to friends, singing. And then there were the things that perhaps some of you did with others, starting a club, winning a sports game, founding an online art magazine, traveling to Germany or Costa Rica, performing in a play, and then there are the things you did on your own. Swapping an engine on a used Subaru, painting the Hudson River, writing and recording an album, studying sound design and music technology, creating a series of conceptual paintings, training a horse, and learning biotech data science, designing and sewing up upcycled fashion, photographing with film and developing it in the basement, learning to play the theremin, filming and producing a video narrated in Spanish about the life in this region, honing gravestones, and learning brush calligraphy. These may have been the more noticeable brush marks on your canvas, but don't forget or overlook the underpainting and the details. If you look closely at this painting, you might just notice the grid, the pencil, or the guidelines. They are filled with momentary acts of kindness and peace, a much-needed hug, an offer to walk to lunch together, bringing a croissant to your teacher. Maybe you remember a time when you found a peaceful place to sit outside and draw, but before you knew it, class was over. Or when you were able to weld on the sidewalk outside school in fresh air. Or maybe it's when you thought there was no way you'd be able to figure out that math problem, but you did. These momentary experiences were all necessary steps toward completing your painting. What an amazing group of curious, creative, and kind individuals who managed to have a huge sense of humor on top of it all. I'm so grateful to have had the chance to be one of your teachers, and so impressed with each one of you. I will now share one quality that I admire in each of you. Mattie, your patience. Linda, your vision. Kenneth, your perseverance. Jem, your confidence. Lucas, your self-determination. Amelia, your leadership. Lulu, your honesty. Katie, your dedication. Julia, your curiosity. Esther, your positivity. Sadie, your ingenuity. Are we done yet? Almost. The time has come today to clean up and put all things to rest. There's a practice called NVC, or nonviolent communication, in which one speaks of primary universal needs like food and water, but also of secondary universal needs. On that list, I discovered that celebration is a universal need. Oftentimes, the end of something comes hand in hand with celebration, and sometimes things are not done until they're celebrated. Today, I invite all of you to join me in celebrating our seniors, their capacities to seek truth, to imagine well, to take action, and above all, to love one another. Dear graduates, this part of your painting is now complete.
Dr. Sagrin, can you come up, please? So, as the families and of the class of 2021, we want to thank you so much for everything you've done, for taking our children and educating them, loving them, and helping them mature so they're ready for this next phase. There you go.
Thank you, Susan. I have to be clear. She said Dr. Sagrin, but it says to all of our teachers. This is our gift to you. It's in the mail. And you have to raise your hand when you think you know what this is. An LW 820 ST 3600 LMS WXGA Education Uninterrupted Learning Through Long-Lasting Projection. It's a very, very beautiful laser-based projector for the school. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm going to walk to the other end there and we're going to hand out some diplomas. So if my colleagues could please rise. Kenneth A. Bellamy. Julia Louise Colodny.
wave, Steve.
Sadie Curtis. Estern. Amelia Fernbacher. Lulu Levy. Esther Lily Wilkes Martel. Linda J. Ripley. Catherine Emily Rumin. Jem Taylor. Mattie Vandiver. The class of 2021.
Choose Something Like a Star by Robert Frost.
O star, the fairest one in sight, we grant your loftiness the right to some obscurity of cloud. It will not do to say of night, since dark is what brings out your light. Some mystery becomes the proud, but to be wholly taciturn in your reserve is not allowed. Say something to us we can learn by heart, and when alone repeat. Say something, and it says I burn, but say with what degree of heat. Talk Fahrenheit, talk centigrade, use language we can comprehend. Tell us what elements you blend. It gives us strangely little aid, but does tell something in the end. And steadfast as keeps eremite, not even stooping from its sphere. It asks a little of us here. It asks of us a certain height, so when at times the mob is swayed, to carry praise or blame too far, we may choose something like a star, to stay our minds on and be stayed.